myself through a
I
period
would
of
use
sadness.
this album to write.
Yes.
Would
I
Mookie
do
Betts
too.
listen to this after the slump he went through?
Ooh, maybe.
Well, you know who we could ask about this because she covers the Dodgers for The Athletic and knows the team as well as anybody. So Katie Wu might have some opinions on this. Katie, appreciate you joining us. And one of the reasons we wanted to have you on was to talk about your latest piece where Mookie Betts, he's coming off a really nice game last night, but he's been struggling for a while. And he admitted that the stuff from the fans is getting to him now more than stuff that athletes always hear has done for him in the past. Why do you think that is now?
Yeah, guys. Hi, nice to talk to you. And it's a great question. When I was talking to Mookie yesterday, I asked him if he felt like it was surprising that the outside noise was getting to him a little bit more than maybe previous in his career. And I think we, just in the industry, maybe take for granted what players are going through each day. And when Mookie obviously has not had a strong start to the season, the oblique strain cost him 4 weeks, the offensive production has been what it is, and he's wearing that hard. He told me it's not like I'm out there trying to sabotage the team. He's actively trying to go out there and play like Mookie Betts. He just hasn't had that success yet. Yesterday, obviously, a good sign in the right direction. But I think that wears on you when you're a player and you have as high expectations for yourself and for your team as the Dodgers do and as Mookie Betts does. And I think it was maybe needed for him to be as candid as he was and saying, hey, I don't feel super supported by all of the fans right now. He was very complimentary about the rest of the fan base and saying, I know that the ones in the stadiums and, a couple of bad messages don't speak for the entire fan base. But, he did say that the hate was starting to wear on him. So he deleted his social media, tried to get himself into a better headspace. 2 homers and a 3-hit night yesterday will probably help with that. But, yeah, it was a good reminder that these athletes are human and are dealing with a lot of things outside of the box score.
I mean, are you surprised, Katie, that there has been this much vitriol toward a guy who, forget even the totality of his career, just what he has meant since he's been with the Dodgers? Surprised that there was that much, I guess, negativity toward him.
Nothing really surprises me about social media anymore, guys, but I do understand the sentiment because this is a guy who's, a beloved franchise favorite since coming over in 2020, 3 World Series champions. He moved from being a Gold Glover in right field to learn shortstop, was a Gold Glove finalist in that position as well. He's really, sacrificed so much of his body and his time to be the best Dodger possible. But baseball is so much of a what have you done for me right now business. I mean, if the back-to-back champs are wearing it, everybody is, right? So it's early. It's May. We've just now passed the 50-plus games mark. There's still plenty of baseball to go. I don't think that what we've seen from Mookie Betts right now on the offensive side is indicative of who he's going to be his entire season. But, he did point out that, since he was hurt in 2024, felt like the offensive production has not matched up what he wants it to be. We know what 2025 looked like, the worst numbers of his career. So to carry that into this season and have it go off the way that it did and start the way that it did is frustrating. And I think Mookie understands that from the fan base perspective. But, I think he does. At the end of the day, you have to take care of yourself and take care of your mental health. And if he said, the hate's become too much, I need to delete my social medias for a while, that's ultimately what you got to do.
Talking with Katie Wu. She covers the Dodgers for The Athletic. She's also one of the hosts of the Dodger Territory podcast. You can follow her on Twitter at Katie J. Wu. Andy Kamenetsky, Marcus Grant in for the guys. One last question on this, and I kind of putting you on the spot to, I guess, psychoanalyze Mookie Betts a bit, but how much of this do you think could be just Mookie recognizing I'm getting older, my body is starting to betray me a bit, and because of that, it's harder to know for sure that I can turn all this around. You know what I mean? Like in the past, in his prime, I'm sure Mookie could take for granted, I'm Mookie Betts, this will turn around. He's not necessarily at that place anymore.
So I asked him a version of that same question, and, I think it's fair to point out the age of the Dodgers roster. They're the oldest active roster in baseball. And I asked him, because he mentioned a couple times that he's 33 and he's learning things, and it's not the same as he was when he was 21, but he still feels like he can be the same player. And I'll read this quote that he told me from the story on The Athletic. He said, I think I'm so much more knowledgeable about the game now. I truly believe I'm a better player now. I just need to find that cue to keep up with what's going. Once I find that cue, we saw last year in September, I can still play. I can still be who I am. So I can understand, and Mookie's not the only one facing age questions, obviously. There's Freddie Freeman comes to mind, Teoscar Hernandez, all these guys getting older. But the way that Mookie talks about what he knows about the game and how he knows his body and how he knows his performance, I actually think, plays into the frustration of it not being able to translate in the box score. We talked to him after his big night yesterday, and he said it just felt like the work was finally translating. He's been putting in a ton of work. Nobody is questioning Mookie Betts' work ethic. That dude is there basically as early as he can be before the 7:10 game. He's taking BP on the field. He's on all the hitters meetings. He's taking extra reps in the cage. He just felt like the work wasn't translating, but he doesn't think it's because of how old he is. He actually thinks his age right now is an advantage into how he can play the game. He just hasn't seen the results yet. Yesterday, again, a good start in the right direction.
You mentioned Freddie Freeman, and I know for a while, Freddie was talking about he wants to extend the contract. He wants to play till he's 40. He wants to chase 3,000 hits. Seems like he's conceding, and anybody who has kids know having kids will change you. That now having another child, having a daughter, maybe he's reevaluating. Have you gotten a sense from Freddie that the priorities are starting to change in terms of his career arc?
It's a great question, and the article that Ken Rosenthal had out, I think, really shows that Freddie Freeman is an official girl dad now. They tend to tug on your heartstrings a little bit more than the boys, and you hear this from a lot of veteran athletes who can justify being away from their kids more than they want to because they're able to bring their children to the ballpark and give them those once-in-a-lifetime experiences. But Freddie said, I'll be 40 in 3.5 years, and my daughter won't remember any of these experiences. So it is weighing on his heartstrings. And I think Freddie has said continuously, even before his daughter was born, that he doesn't want to be a lug on this Dodgers club. He wants to retire as a Dodger, but he's not expecting it if he can't play well. If his play doesn't earn an extension, then he's not going to have any hard feelings towards the Dodgers front office or Andrew Friedman. And I think it's interesting to watch as this plays on, especially as we head into 2027 and being unsure of what the baseball landscape looks like with a potential work stoppage looming, how all of this can change. So we'll see. I thought it was, again, I appreciate players like Freddie and Mookie being candid with real life things. We tend to forget they're more than just ball players. So we'll see how that goes. But as we're talking to Freddie, it's interesting to monitor because he said all along, I want to retire as a Dodger. I want to play until I'm 40. 3,000 hits means a lot to Freddie Freeman. But as you get older and as your family develops, things change. So definitely something to keep an eye on over the next couple of years.
These are also, too, Katie, and we're talking with Katie Wu. She covers the Dodgers for The Athletic. She's one of the hosts of the Dodger Territory podcast. Follow her on Twitter at Katie J. Wu. These are conversations that you can have about the Dodgers or often do when it's May, and we know that we're in kind of the doldrums or the required part of the season before you get to the playoffs and what everyone really cares about. How do you think they stay engaged for this, or what keeps them engaged for the slog piece of this?
Yeah, honestly, that's what I was interested in finding out when I came over to the Dodgers beat, and it was quickly answered to me. They really care about playing every day, and they understand that it's 162 and their season really starts in October. But this is a group of guys that are so committed into showing up and doing the little things right every day. When I remember walking into spring training, and usually with some clubs, pitchers and catchers report or the very early position players, it's a little lackadaisical. Guys are getting their work in, just kind of adjusting. Not in Dodgerland. It was very much, all right, boys are here, let's get down to business. And you can see these guys who know they're going to be playing deep into October, still not wanting to take a day off. I mean, Dave Roberts has probably one of the hardest jobs in baseball in terms of getting guys to take days. Like, you're not going to get Mookie out of this lineup. You're not going to get Freddie out or Will Smith. I mean, Shohei Ohtani, that's been a thing all season long, and trying to load manage and get Ohtani as much rest as possible. These are guys that want to be in the lineup every single day and are essentially going to fight their manager until told otherwise. And I think that's how they get through the regular season, because, yes, they know it's kind of a slog, especially right now in April, May. But these are the guys that actively, truly want to be on the field every single day, and that goes a long way in a baseball season, not just the regular season, but what should be another long postseason as well.
Looking more short term, as in tonight, Shohei Ohtani's scheduled to pitch. I know that is still on track, but after taking a pitch off his hand last night, it was sort of up in the air about whether he was going to hit. Any insight as to whether we see two-way Shohei or just pitcher Shohei?
Great question. I think Dave Roberts, and he said this before, he's going to go on a week-by-week decision with Shohei. They are aided by a team off day at home, no travel tomorrow, so essentially a little bit more time for Shohei to recover. My gut tells me, and this is just speculation, that the Dodgers were able to blow out the Rockies so badly yesterday and get Shohei out of there. That was more precautionary than anything with the hit involving the hit by pitch. The fact that he was able to get 4 innings off last night gives him a good case for Dave Roberts to do two-way Shohei things, especially with the off day, no travel tomorrow. So my gut feeling tells me that he will do both, but I, again, will not be surprised. I think, again, Dave Roberts has had to walk a really tight line in terms of making sure he can get the most out of Shohei as a hitter and a pitcher on days that he starts. But, guys, we know that when he's doing both, his leash is not going to be as long as a starter. You know, I think Dave Roberts has said as much. There are going to be days where Shohei's not hitting in the lineup that Dave is ready and comfortable pushing him to 7 or more innings. When he is hitting in the lineup on his pitching start days, not so much. They also have to take into consideration the bullpen. The bullpen right now has been pretty well rested, so everyone should be ready to go. Which makes me feel like that Ohtani will hit today, because you can make him have a little bit of a shorter leash, knowing the bullpen has your back, and you have the off day going into tomorrow.
All right, last question for you, Katie. We can drag you into a debate we were having earlier. You mentioned how the Dodgers blew out the Rockies last night, which afforded Dave Roberts a little bit of leeway with how he handled Shohei. It also allowed for the opportunity to put Miguel Rojas on the mound and have a position player out there. I love the ridiculousness and theater of position players pitching. Marcus and the Blue Review co-host Greg Bergman, they don't enjoy this stuff. They want real pitchers out there, game going quicker. How do you feel about it?
I don't mind it, but if I was commissioner, what a concept. If both teams are using position players as pitchers, call it. All right, let's call it a day. We don't need to do this anymore. It's 15-1. It's 10 o'clock at night, and both guys are on there. I mean, I did like that a pitcher went deep. That was pretty cool. But overall, if both teams have conceded to having a position player on the mound pitching, in quotes, that ball game is over. Call it. Let's go home, shake hands, high fives, see you tomorrow.
That's actually the correct answer. I think we actually landed on the way to solve this. She is Katie Woo. She covers the Dodgers for The Athletic. She's also the host of the Dodgers Territory podcast. Follow her on Twitter at Katie J. Woo. Really appreciate the time, Katie. Thank you.
Thanks, Katie.
You got it, guys. Talk soon.
Katie, this is why we talk to Katie. She comes on the Blue Review every once in a while. Katie has all the answers.
Yes, she does. Come hang out with